Blood. That's all I could see pooling between my legs as I gripped the bathroom counter, my knuckles white as bone. The cramping had started during my shift at the hospital. I was a pediatric nurse, ironically, and by the time I made it home, I knew. At 12 weeks, I was losing the baby my fiancé James, and I had cried happy tears over just last month. Mom. I screamed, my voice raw and desperate. Mom, please, I need to go to the hospital. The house was silent except for laughter drifting from the living room. My younger sister Sophia's high-pitched giggle mixed with my mother's delighted squeals. I dragged myself down the hallway, leaving a trail I'd be mortified about later, clutching my stomach as another wave of agony rolled through me. Mom, I gasped, reaching the doorway. I'm bleeding. The baby. They were surrounded by wedding magazines, champagne flutes catching the afternoon light. Sophia held up her hand, showing off a diamond that caught the light like captured starlight. My mother's face shifted from joy to annoyance the moment she saw me. Meredith, really? Right now? Mom's voice was sharp. Your sister just got engaged. Can't your dramatics wait? I'm having a miscarriage, I whispered, tears streaming down my face. Please, I need. Oh, stop being so dramatic. Mom waved her hand dismissively. You probably just spotted a little. You always exaggerate. Sophia's engagement is more important than your false alarm. My father walked in then, took one look at me doubled over, and shook his head. You weren't meant to be a bride anyway, Meredith. Maybe this is God's way of telling you to focus on your career instead of playing house with that James boy. The room spun. I couldn't tell if it was from blood loss or the casual cruelty of his words. Sophia didn't even look up from her magazine, just held a dress photo next to her face. Mom, do you think I'd look better in mermaid or ball gown? I called James with shaking fingers. He was at the hospital in 10 minutes, carried me to the car, while my family continued their celebration, their laughter following us out the door like mockery. 4 hours later, it was confirmed. We'd lost our daughter, yes, we'd known it was a girl. I named her anyway. Emma. James held me as I sobbed in that sterile hospital room, promising we'd try again when I was ready, that this wasn't my fault, that he loved me. All the things my family should have said but didn't. I stayed with James for 3 days, unable to face going home. When I finally did, the house was empty except for a note on the kitchen table. Went wedding dress shopping with Sophia, back late. Mom. I dragged myself upstairs to my childhood bedroom, the one I'd moved back into 6 months ago to save money for our wedding. Our wedding. My hand went to the closet where my dress hung in its pristine garment bag. James's mother had helped me pick it out, a vintage-inspired A-line with delicate pearl beading that made me feel like I was floating. We bought it just 2 weeks ago. The closet was empty. Not just empty of my dress, empty of the shoes I had dyed to match. Empty of the veil my grandmother had worn and saved for me. Empty of the small box containing the sixpence for my shoe, the blue garter, the borrowed earrings from James's sister. Everything. Gone. My phone rang. Sophia. Oh my God, you'll never believe it. Mom found this amazing vintage dress at the consignment shop. It's perfect. A little big on me, but nothing alterations can't fix. And get this, it even came with matching shoes and this gorgeous veil. The blood drained from my face. Sophia, was it an A-line? With pearl beading. How did you know? It's like it was meant to be. The shop owner said some girl had just sold it to them yesterday. Can you believe someone would give up such a perfect dress? Her loss is my gain. I hung up. My hands weren't shaking anymore. They were steady. Deadly steady. When they came home hours later, arms full of shopping bags, I was sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of tea. Calm, collected. Oh, you're up, Mom said breezily. Feeling better? I told you it was just dramatics. Where's my wedding dress, Mom? She didn't even have the decency to look guilty. Sophia needed it more. You and James have been dragging your feet on setting a date, and she needs a dress now. Her wedding is in 3 months. I was in the hospital, I said quietly. I lost my baby, and you gave away my wedding dress. Sold is such an ugly word, she replied, opening the fridge like this was just another Thursday. I gave it to someone who would actually use it. Besides, the money helped cover Sophia's engagement party deposit. My father walked in, loosening his tie. Still upset about that? He said, not even glancing at me. Meredith, be realistic. James isn't going to marry you. He's just keeping you around. At least Sophia secured Brandon. Brandon, I repeated. The same Brandon who messaged me last month. Sophia gasped. You're lying. I pulled out my phone and showed them the screenshots. They were real, explicit, and time-stamped, just weeks after he and Sophia had started dating. This doesn't mean anything, she snapped, grabbing the phone. You probably encouraged him. Like I encouraged the last 3 guys you dated who all somehow messaged me too. I stood slowly. Or maybe like I encouraged Dad's business associate you've been texting behind Brandon's back. Sophia paled. Mom stepped forward. How dare you? No, I cut her off. I'm done. Done being the responsible one, the quiet one, the one who pretends everything's okay while you all treat me like I don't matter. I turned toward the door, then paused. Oh, and Mom, that vintage dress you gave away, it was a Vera Wang, worth about $15,000. Hope that venue was worth it. But I wasn't finished, not even close. What they didn't know was that I'd been documenting everything for years. Every hurtful comment, every slight, every time they prioritized Sophia over me. My therapist suggested it to help me validate my feelings, proof that I wasn't imagining it. I never thought I'd use it for justice. The first step? Calling my grandmother's estate lawyer. Grandma left her house to all of us. Me, Sophia, and our parents, but with a very specific clause. If one of us could prove theft from the estate, the entire inheritance would go to the victim. The wedding veil, it was from Grandma, documented, willed specifically to me, and it had been given away without my consent. Theft, clear as day. While the lawyer handled that, I moved on. Brandon's messages, I had them all. But I didn't send them to Sophia. That would have been too easy. I sent them to Brandon's mother, an old-fashioned woman who managed his place in the family business. I attached a note, thought you might want to know what your future son-in-law has been saying. For Dad, I took a different route. His debts, the ones Mom secretly paid off using my college fund, I traced every transaction, every withdrawal, every cover-up. And his job had a zero-tolerance policy for personal financial misconduct. But the final blow, that was safe for my mother. She ran a popular blog. Perfect family, perfect life. Thousands followed her tips on parenting and homemaking. She even used my loss to create content, rewriting herself as the heroic, supportive mother who was by my side through everything. So I made my own blog, Behind the Perfect Family. The first post was simple. A photo of the hallway floor, a hospital bracelet with a timestamp, the empty closet where my dress once hung, and a receipt from the consignment store signed by my mother the day after I was discharged. It went viral overnight. By morning, my phone was exploding. Mom's followers were abandoning her in droves, sponsors pulling out, her carefully crafted image crumbling. Sophia's engagement was off. Brandon's mother had given him an ultimatum, and he'd chosen money over my sister. Dad had been suspended pending investigation into his gambling. They all showed up at James' apartment, where I'd been staying. You've ruined us. Mom screamed through the door. How could you do this to your family? I opened the door, calm as ever. Family? You sold my wedding dress while I was losing my baby. You told me I wasn't meant to be a bride while I was bleeding. You chose Sophia's engagement over my emergency. We're going to lose everything. Dad's voice was broken. The house, my job, Sophia's wedding. You mean Grandma's house? I smiled coldly. Don't worry about that. My lawyer says the paperwork should be finalized next week. I'll make sure you have 30 days to move out. Sophia was sobbing. I didn't know about the dress, Meredith, I swear. If I'd known it was yours. You knew. I cut her off. You knew I was saving for a wedding. You knew I'd bought a dress. You just didn't care. None of you have ever cared. Mom reached for me, but I stepped back. Please, Meredith, we're family. We can work this out. No, I said simply. You were family. Now you're just people who used to know me. I closed the door on their faces, on their tears, on their pleas. Inside, James wrapped his arms around me, kissing the top of my head. How do you feel? He asked gently. Free, I whispered. And for the first time since losing Emma, I actually smiled. The house sold within a month, Grandma's house, now legally mine. I donated Mom's portion to a miscarriage support charity in Emma's name. Dad's portion went to gambling addiction services. Sophia's, a scholarship fund for nursing students who'd been financially abused by their families. My blog continued to grow. Turns out, I wasn't the only one with a perfect family that was anything but. Messages poured in from others who'd been the scapegoat, the forgotten one, the one who gave and gave until there was nothing left. James and I married 6 months later in a small ceremony by the lake. I wore a simple dress I'd bought with my own money, with a new veil that carried no painful memories. His family had become mine in every way that mattered. Sophia tried to reach out once, a year later. A long message about how she'd been in therapy, how she understood now how toxic our family dynamic had been, how sorry she was. I read it, then I archived it. Some bridges, once burned, are better left as ashes. The last I heard, Mom was working as a grocery store clerk, her blog empire destroyed. Dad was in recovery, living in a halfway house. Sophia had moved 3 states away, working as a receptionist, her influencer dreams as dead as her engagement. And me? I was living, not in spite of them, but without them. James and I had tried again, and our rainbow baby was due in spring. A boy this time. We'd name him after James's father, a man who'd shown me more kindness in 2 years than my own family had in 25. Sometimes in quiet moments, I'd think about that day. The blood, the pain, the casual cruelty of being told my tragedy was less important than wedding dress shopping. But then I'd feel my son kick, feel James's hand in mine, and remember, the best revenge isn't just living well. It's living without them entirely. It's taking back every piece of yourself they tried to steal and building something beautiful from the ashes of what they burned. They thought I wasn't meant to be a bride. Turns out, I was meant to be so much more. I was meant to be free,